announced at the wedding that the bride's life was coming to an end. But before she could even shout a single insult, she coughed up a bit of blood. In that moment, I suddenly realized that in my past life, I had truly saved her with my own life. But now it was too late for regrets. I watched the bride collapse in front of me, my expression cold and indifferent. In the previous life, I had been a top medical student, and to save Annie, who had lung cancer, I had married her and sacrificed my own life to cure her terminal illness. Afterwards, Annie publicly claimed that I had faked her diagnosis for money and forced her to marry me. Eventually, the man she loved so much couldn't bear it and jumped into a river, killing himself. She unleashed all her anger on me, preparing to bury me alive. I explained again that I had only married her to repay her for saving my life. It wasn't until I felt a jade pendant in the grave that Annie revealed the truth. The person who saved me back then had actually been her sister. Looking at the real lifesaver lying in the tomb with me, I felt deep regret. Annie, however, had no sympathy and immediately buried me. The next moment, I opened my eyes again and found myself reborn on the day I was supposed to marry Annie. At that time, her father was asking if I agreed to the marriage, and this time, I flatly refused. I vowed in my heart that this life, I would watch Annie die before my eyes. At the same time, Annie came out. She said she never had cancer and that all the claims about it had been fabricated by me. She also told her father she would never marry me. I was shocked. In the previous life, Annie had fully believed she was dying, and to save her life, she agreed to marry me. Now, her behavior made me realize immediately that she, too, had been reborn. Annie insisted she would only marry a man she truly liked. Her father said they had investigated, and that the man she liked was cunning and unscrupulous. Even so, Annie refused to marry me. I got up to leave, and Annie immediately followed, mocking me relentlessly. Suddenly, she coughed up blood-tinged phlegm. She panicked instantly, beginning to doubt that what I had said might be true. But then the man she liked handed her a medical report showing she was perfectly healthy. I immediately refuted him, saying the report was fake. Then Annie coughed up another bit of blood-tinged phlegm. I urged her to see a doctor quickly, but she still didn't believe me and directly had bodyguards seize me. They locked me in a basement. Soon the man came down and mocked me endlessly. I only reminded him that Annie was naturally unfaithful in matters of love. Hearing that, he became furious and beat me. Before long, Annie came to the cellar herself, praising my method of stirring trouble and boasting she would marry that man in 3 days. But I knew that in 3 days, it would be the day her lung cancer would flare. Soon, I fainted. When I woke up, the person in front of me was the lifesaver I had been desperately searching for. I immediately began examining her. Before I could even speak the diagnosis, she told me she had been poisoned and that the poison had no antidote. She and her mother had the same type of poison, so she suspected her sister was involved. She wanted to join forces with me against Annie and explained everything. It turned out she and Annie were half-sisters. After their mother died, her position in the family had become unstable. Her father wanted her to marry the son of a business partner, but she refused to marry the unscrupulous rich kid, and so she thought of me. I agreed to her plan immediately, and recounted how she had saved my life 3 years ago.